Brilliant fighter. You can't take any. Look, fighters get hurt. It's about how you come back from it, obviously. And he's shown time and time again that he's got that skill and everything in the locker to come and deliver. I don't think he's fought anyone like MJ Akhmadaliev. He's a massive puncher. And it's all riding on this. And fair play to him for taking it, because a lot of people were saying, mainly Eddie, that he'd duck it. But look, he stayed away from it.
Very select with what he throws. And when he throws, it's accurate. It's at the right place, at the right time, in the right position. Because this guy is selective. He is smart. He is calculating. That's what gives him a chance. That's the opposite of what whoever he was. The opposite. That's what gives him a chance for me.
Boxing is often described as the sweet science, but at its core, it is also a battle of perception. Fighters and analysts constantly weigh styles, resumes, and reputations, trying to forecast how a contest will play out. The case of Naoya Inoue versus Murodjon Akhmadaliev has become a prime example. The build-up has generated heated debates about rankings, mandatories, styles, and legacies. On one side stands Inoue, widely regarded as a pound-for-pound king, an offensive genius with surgical accuracy and punishing power. On the other side is MJ, a skilled southpaw with heavy hands and a resume that shows both promise and hesitation. This script follows how respected voices in boxing, fighters, trainers, promoters, analysts, and legends have broken down this looming clash. From Fulton's uncertainty to Teddy Atlas' technical praise to Frank Smith's cautious optimism about MJ, each perspective adds a new layer. But as the breakdown unfolds, one conclusion emerges. While MJ brings strength and ambition, Inoue's precision, timing, and relentless mentality place him on an entirely different level. Let's break it down, quote by quote, starting with Stephen Fulton's candid remarks about his own lack of clarity when sizing up Foster, which indirectly reveals just how sharp and studied fighters like Inoue really are.
What are you expecting from this Oshaki fight? Man, I think it's a really, really good fight. It's like, I know, do you feel like it's a 50-50 fight, that you guys are evenly matched, or you have a different perspective?
Stephen Fulton admitted, in surprisingly raw fashion, that he hadn't fully studied Oshaki Foster before their matchup. He said he'd only seen glimpses, listened to trainers, and not truly broken him down. This kind of admission is rare in boxing, where fighters usually claim total confidence and deep analysis. Fulton's honesty, however, shows the gap between someone trying to feel their way through an opponent and someone like Inoue, who embodies preparation to the fullest.
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I really don't know. So, hey. Yeah, I really don't know yet. I haven't really tuned in all the way to him. I've watched little things, but I haven't really tuned in all the way to him.
Inoue never enters a fight half-tuned. His training camps are centered on precision, studying opponents' habits, exposing tiny weaknesses, and making sure every punch he throws has purpose. Fulton's words highlighted the opposite mindset. Uncertainty, hesitation, a sort of casual belief that instincts alone could carry him. That casualness is dangerous when facing fighters who thrive on detail. Against MJ, any sense of "I haven't tuned in fully" would be a death sentence. Inoue thrives because he doesn't guess. He knows.
From what I hear and what I see from my trainers and then it's not gonna be a hard fight though.
Fulton doubled down by suggesting that Foster's style wasn't new to him. He claimed he'd seen it many times and could adapt easily. That kind of belief often becomes a trap. Fighters convince themselves that experience with a type of opponent translates into mastery. But Inoue flips that equation on its head.
They think it's not going to be too hard of a fight for you.
It's his style. I know his style. I fought his style plenty times. I can fight that style. If I wanted to fight the way he fight, I can do that. It's just an easy fight.
Fulton's comments underline a common misconception in boxing, that styles win fights more than execution. In reality, execution under pressure is everything. Inoue not only has a defined style, but also layers of adaptability. He can pressure aggressively, box patiently, switch angles, and unleash power with either hand.
Eddie Hearn is saying that Inoue needs to be taken off the pound-for-pound rankings and be stripped. Hold on, because of MJ Akhmadaliev. He's already said no to his mandatory three or four times. So what is the criteria?
The next major point comes from analysts debating whether Inoue should be stripped of rankings or held accountable for not fighting his mandatory MJ sooner. The criticism came from promoters like Eddie Hearn, who framed MJ as the mandatory challenger being avoided. But then came the counter from journalists. Inoue is, in fact, the most active elite fighter in the world today.
But fact of the matter is Inoue is probably the most active elite fighter out there. He's more active than any pound-for-pound rated fighter since Canelo Alvarez fought like 4 times in a 12-month span.
This matters because activity is not just a number, it's a reflection of rhythm, sharpness, and mental edge. Inoue fighting multiple times in a calendar year against elite opposition shows his commitment to staying sharp.
The most active pound-for-pound rated fighter is Inoue. It's him. He's talking about fighting 4 times this year. No other elite. When we say elite, we're talking about the cream of the crop.
Doug Fisher expanded on the same theme by emphasizing that Inoue isn't just active. He's the most active pound-for-pound fighter today. He pointed out that Inoue has discussed fighting 4 times in a single year. No other top-tier fighter even comes close to that output. And then comes the devastating contrast. When asked about MJ's recent activity, even the analysts couldn't recall his last opponent.
No, would we just drop him because he doesn't fight MJ? Let me ask you this. When's the last time MJ fought and who was it? Who was the opponent?
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you either.
That gap between being in the spotlight and being out of memory is massive in boxing. Momentum matters. Confidence builds not just in camp but under the lights when fighters test themselves against real opposition.
Very select with what he throws. And when he throws, it's accurate. It's at the right place, at the right time, in the right position.
Teddy Atlas' analysis is always surgical, and his comments about Inoue's selectivity reveal why the Japanese superstar stands apart. Atlas pointed out that Inoue doesn't waste punches. Every strike is measured, deliberate, and purposeful. That's not just talent, it's discipline, and it's what transforms raw power into devastating efficiency.
Because this guy is selective. He is smart. He is calculating. That's what gives him a chance. That's the opposite of what whoever he was. The opposite. That's what gives him a chance for me.
This is why his knockouts seem almost effortless. Watch his fights carefully, and you'll see he doesn't swing wildly to score. Instead, he stalks, studies, and then unleashes the precise shot that ends the contest. Atlas Praise highlights something many fans overlook. It's not about how hard you hit, but how accurately and when you hit. Inoue embodies that philosophy. Fighters like MJ might rely on raw power and aggression, but without the same level of calculation, they leave themselves vulnerable.
Yeah, could he get out hustled? But in his mind, he won't get out hustled. You know why? Because his control with his legs of range takes care of his defense where you're not landing on him.
Atlas went further in his breakdown, discussing Inoue's footwork. He praised Inoue's legs for their control of distance, a crucial element that often gets overlooked because fans focus more on knockout highlights. Inoue uses his legs not only to close the gap, but to manage range defensively.
The one thing I see a problem with his legs, and I gave him nothing but kudos for his legs. Now I got to give him a little correction. His legs are good, but he goes back too many steps in a row back.
But Atlas also noted a small flaw. Inoue sometimes takes too many steps backward in a row. It's a subtle detail, but one worth considering. Stepping back too far can momentarily cede ground and give aggressive fighters the illusion of momentum. Against certain opponents, this could invite pressure.
In December, we have the master, the real master. We have, 27th of December, we have Inoue.
Yep.
We are thinking now we are close to finish.
Turki Alshika's comments shift the perspective from technical analysis to global spectacle. He described Inoue as the master and positioned the December event as not just another fight, but a major boxing showcase between Japan and Mexico. This framing is important because it shows how Inoue has transcended the typical narrative of a regional star. He's not just Japan's champion anymore. He's a global figure being matched with opponents from powerhouse boxing nations like Mexico.
As main event. And all the card will be built as big fights, the biggest fights between Japan and Mexico.
For Inoue, carrying the label of the master is fitting. His dominance across multiple divisions has made him one of the most respected fighters alive. And the fact that entire cards are being built around his fights underscores his status as a marquee attraction. For MJ, this creates an even greater pressure.
I want to start off with MJ Akhmadaliev as well. Gets that win and sets up with an absolute mega fight with Naoya Inoue in September as well.
The interviewer set the stage perfectly when he described MJ's win as the spark that set up an absolute mega fight with Inoue in September. That's the truth of this matchup. It isn't just another fight. It's a collision between one of the most destructive punchers in boxing and the most precise, dominant technician of this era.
Finally gets his opportunity to become undisputed. You know, he was unlucky in that fight against Tapales a few years ago now to lose his belts, and would have got the Inoue shot a lot sooner. I think we saw in the last Inoue fight, he can be vulnerable, he can be hurt, he can be put down.
Frank Smith, in his reply, pointed out how cautious MJ was in his last outing. And that caution wasn't weakness, it was strategy. He had 14 weeks until the Inoue fight, and everything he did was about arriving at that moment unscathed.
And MJ's a big puncher. I don't think you can judge much off of the performance of last week from MJ, because it was sort of cautious, and he was just going in there to get the win, get some rounds ahead of the biggest fight of his career.
Frank made it clear that MJ wasn't chasing a spectacular knockout or a risky exchange in his last fight. He was preserving himself, ensuring that nothing derailed the opportunity he's been waiting years for. That's critical context.
Brilliant fighter. You can't take any... Look, fighters get hurt. It's about how you come back from it, obviously. And he's shown time and time again that he's got that skill and everything in the locker to come and deliver.
Frank Smith didn't shy away from acknowledging reality. Inoue can be hurt. He reminded us that in the past, Inoue has shown vulnerability. He's been touched, he's been put down, and like any fighter, he's not invincible.
I don't think he's fought anyone like MJ Akhmadaliev. He's a massive puncher. And it's all riding on this. And fair play to him for taking it, because a lot of people were saying, mainly Eddie, that he'd duck it. But look, he stayed away from it.
Smith also cautioned against judging MJ's recent cautious fight too harshly. That bout was a formality, a way to shake off rust, bank rounds, and avoid risk. It wasn't a showcase of everything MJ can do. When the lights shine in Japan, we'll see a very different version of him, the aggressive, heavy-handed puncher who thrives in high-stakes battles. For fans, this reminder is important. Don't write MJ off based on a tune-up.
But now I'm glad MJ gets his shot, because he deserves it.
In the final set of comments, Frank Smith gave both men their respect. He called Inoue a brilliant fighter, emphasizing that getting hurt isn't the issue. The issue is how you respond. And Inoue has consistently proven that he doesn't just survive adversity, he thrives in it. That's the mark of greatness. Fighters without resilience crumble when tested. Inoue, on the other hand, uses those moments to remind the world that he's more than just power and precision. He's heart and recovery.
Japanese fighter is the best fighter. In my opinion, I'm nobody, but I think he's the best fighter. He's 122 now, right?
He's 122, he'd be going to 135.
Why don't they fight 132, something like that?
But Smith also turned the spotlight on MJ. He acknowledged that Inoue hasn't faced anyone quite like him. MJ brings massive punching power and confidence into the ring. And fair play to Inoue, Smith said, for taking the fight at all. There were whispers, mostly from Eddie Hearn, about whether Inoue would avoid this matchup. Frank Smith's words carried a simple but powerful truth. I'm glad MJ gets his shot, because he deserves it. In boxing, opportunities aren't always fair. Timing, promoters, injuries, politics, they all conspire to derail careers. MJ has been one of those fighters stuck in limbo, waiting patiently while others leapfrogged ahead. That's why this fight resonates beyond the belts. It's about justice, about a fighter finally receiving what he earned years ago. Smith's acknowledgement is significant because it frames MJ not just as a challenger, but as a man who has carried scars and kept moving forward. Too many fighters fade when the breaks don't go their way. MJ didn't. He stayed the course, and now his persistence is rewarded with the biggest opportunity of his life. And then, in contrast, came the voice of Mike Tyson. The baddest man on the planet doesn't hand out praise lightly. Yet here he was, speaking in awe. Japanese fighters are the best fighters in the world. I think Inoue is the best fighter. That's monumental. When someone like Tyson, a legend whose very name is synonymous with destruction and dominance, declares Inoue the best, it tells you exactly where Inoue sits in the hierarchy of the sport.
Inoue's known for his power. How'd you feel him in there? How does his punch feel?
Honestly, it wasn't like thudding power. Like, it wasn't power where it was like, oh shit, it hurts every punch. No, and it was never hurt. I was never hurt, nothing. It was just more like overwhelming.
Ramon Cardenas provided an invaluable perspective when asked about facing Inoue's famed power. His response was surprising. Honestly, it wasn't like thudding power. It wasn't power where it was like, oh shit, it hurts every punch. No, and I was never hurt. Nothing. It was just more like overwhelming.
Again, he is who he is for a reason, pound for pound. So, again, what I'm saying? It is what it is.
That word, overwhelming, is the key. Too often, fans reduce Inoue's dominance to raw knockout power, as if he's just another heavy-handed puncher. But Cardenas broke it down perfectly. Inoue's power isn't about one punch that caves you in. It's about accumulation. It's the speed, the precision, the placement. So when the bell rings in September, MJ won't just be fighting the man Mike Tyson calls the best. He'll be facing a fighter whose power is less about brute force and more about suffocating inevitability. durability. And that's why this matchup has fans on edge. Because for MJ to win, he won't just need to survive the storm, he'll need to find a way to silence it.